Fiddle music wraps a warm summer night in excitement. We see a large cabin, slat plank walls, and an old-styled shingled roof, with an open porch wrapping around the front, up on stilts above the soft ground. Inside, we see warm light spilling out with jovial voices echoing from inside. People hooted, a small crash followed by some roaring laughter and someone shouting. The wooden door on the front is our focus as we slowly move in before a hand reaches up and bangs loudly 3 times on the door. Someone hollers from inside before the door is roughly yanked open. A middle-aged man stands before us with deep wrinkles and an even furrowed brow. His black and gray beard hangs down to his upper chest, and he has a cap on his head. His cheeks are a little bit rosy from having some drink. Piercing eyes marked by a large cut running along his forehead glow yellow in the torchlight of the man who knocked on the door. The man speaks to the man in the door. Father Theach, she's almost done. It's taken a lot from her, but we think she's going to be all right. However, there was a complication. You best come see. It happened again. The man, now known as Theach, nods and thanks the man, waving him off, but a smile crosses his lips. James, he shouts out. Get out here. We got work to do. A young voice heard off the side. Oh, apologies. I don't want to hear it, son. Grab the lantern. Follow me. The two head down the steps and across the field of short grass that has been meticulously tended to. We could see men and women walking, gathered around a campfire, each one greeting the man as he strides past, and the man each giving a nod back. Walk straight, son. You need to be tall, even now. See how they look at us? It's important. Show confidence. You understand? Yes, sir. The two arrive at a large red barn. Tall reeds stretch off to the sides, leading into a large brackish marsh that stretches off into the field of view. A huge moon can be seen above the top of the timber roof, as if it were sitting on top and threatening to roll off into those dark, murky waters. The boy stares up at the moon as if hypnotized. His father gently grips his shoulder and ushers him forward. Don't stare, it's impolite. Now, come along. It's time for a lesson. The inside of the barn has a dirt and hay floor with some stalls filled with tools and implements. Torches light the inside, providing light for work. We see a female cow laying on her side and breathing heavily. Her chest rising up and down, as it was clear that she was just in labor. As she rests, a man and a woman attend to her. The woman stands, cleans some blood off of her hands, before turning and seeing Theach. Evening, Father. She's resting, but the little one, it's a bad omen, that, and it needs to be handled by them. No. I'll take care of this. You be on your way. James and I will handle it. Very well. The two leave. The barn empty now, but for the man, his son, and the female cow. However, James walks a little further, now peering into a side stall of the barn. However, James' eyes go wide, and he gasps in fear, stumbling back as he falls into his father, who towers over him like a statue. Do not fear it, for it is not worth the fear. Theach grips his son, moves him forward towards what we now see, a 2-headed baby calf, or baby cow. Slightly dried off and clean, the calf's huge black eyes stare up, but not at the two of them as they move towards it, but towards the ceiling where cracks of moonlight shine through down on the calf. But those are blocked off as Theach and James come ever closer. Press your hand to him, son, he says as they lean down next to the calf, Theach guiding his son's hands. What do you feel? I feel a beat. No, wait. 2? Does it have 2 hearts as well? Precisely. That's good. But you could feel the irregularity. They're competing, fighting. 2 hearts, one strong and fully grown, the other weaker, softer, stunted. Being a leader means knowing what's best for everyone, and to make it a decisive action. He grins now at his son, and we watch as suddenly he holds out his arm, and with a grunt we see the skin split along his entire forearm, his hand cracking and breaking in half long ways as suddenly a wolf's hand rips forth from where it was, as if competing with the space of the other hand. Blood and sinew flying off and splattering along the wall and ground. And now you might think, remove the weak heart. With a quick, clean swipe, he cuts along the side of the calf and pushes his hand inside, the calf mooing out, his other hand gently petting the animal. Hold it still. Yes, sir. Oh, where was I? Yes. Now you'd be wrong. We remove the strong heart, the defiant heart, the heart that seeks an outside world. With a twist, his hand is back outside of the calf and holding a healthy heart. She will survive, she will produce, and she will give sustenance and contribute. But she will never have the strength to kick the farmer or knock down the fence. You see, son, that is how we lead.
Holy shit! Holy shit!
Moo
Welcome back.
moo.
It came from a land of brutality and evil. It came from terror and fear.
I hear you in a whisper, calling me through the reeds. The wind sweeps, the waves bury me. Blood and dirt, flesh and rain, it's mud all the same. Before rivers, before bones, old like the marshlands, old like the marshlands, old like the marshlands when they heard their name.
Sing, purple, train, that shall not be spoken.
Welcome everybody to Blood on the Reeds, our new Old Gods of Appalachia game, but set in the marshlands of the Chesapeake Bay. Old Gods of Appalachia is a great podcast from what I've heard. I'm going to be honest, I've never listened to it. But the setting is fabulous. And the design of it is great. It's based off of the Cypher system. And we'll get into that a little bit, but why don't we go around and I'll introduce everybody. And when I introduce you, let me know your favorite bay critter, because we're set in the good old Chesapeake Bay. But first, our very special guest for this campaign, Nate Brass.
Woo!
Woo! Yeah, Nate.
Yeah, woo.
Hi, I'm Nate. I don't really know how we're supposed to do this, but I like screech owls.
Yeah, Screech Owls.
Screech Owls.
Screech Owls, a
Nice.
good one. Rachel Kordell.
Ooh, Sky said I could have 2. Hermit crabs and cow-nose rays.
All right.
Ooh, those are
Casey Reardon.
I'm gonna go with a fisher. Those cute little guys.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Fishers are very cool. Seth Coveyou.
Gotta go with blue crab.
Gotta go with the classic blue crab.
Classic.
And Andrew Frost.
I myself like the Kemp's Ridley sea turtle.
Oh, that's a great sea turtle.
Incredible.
Right? Everyone's like, oh, loggerhead. Nah, dude. Kemp's Ridley.
No, I love a Ridley. They're so pretty.
Right? They're so cute.
Well, I am excited, guys. We will do character introductions in a little bit here, but why don't we just dive straight back in?
We're just gonna skip over you. I mean,
Yeah, what's your favorite?
what's your favorite critter, and why is it the great blue heron?
Oh, it's not the great blue heron. How dare you? Go ahead and start with minus 1d6 might. How dare you?
Direct.
I mean, you guys said some great ones. I might just have to go with a classic horseshoe crab. They're pretty
Yeah,
fabulous.
they're so cool.
Freaky. They're very freaky. Or a green heron. They got a silly neck. I love a green heron. Shall we dive into it, guys?
Let's dive.
All right. I think what we see first is an aerial shot. And in the bottom left corner, we get Washington, D.C., June 1922. We see an aerial shot of D.C., the White House, with its massive lawn stretches out before running all the way down to the newly created Lincoln Memorial. It was opened in May of 1922. Fun fact. The left side of the lawn is a large forested area. Believe it or not, there were no Smithsonians there. It was just open trees, basically.
Wow.
Or closed trees, whatever. And the right side, enormous office buildings for various governmental organizations. We, however, find ourselves in the middle of the Treasury building, down at least 5 halls, 4 sets of long stairs, a surprisingly advanced lift for the time, and a secret set of doors that are past a pair of nasty receptionists who continue to speak in unison. We see us in a room that looks vaguely like a classroom. There are chairs with built-in desks stretched around the room, and in the front is a large corkboard and a blackboard that have sparse notes. You've definitely been in this room before. It is a mission briefing room. And you've seen missions where, like, these boards have been filled with notes, string going everywhere. Like, they've had to wield in a second blackboard because they needed to write down more. For this, there's barely anything up. There's like 3 photos on that corkboard, and truly the sparsest amount of notes. Either our research department is not doing their job or something else, but it's definitely a surprising lack of information. And we see in the front of the room a tall black woman with a wide frame. Her hair is short but rounded out just above the ears with some beautiful diamond earrings. We would know this as Alice, also known as your liaison. Don't know her last name, and you'll probably never be friends with her.
Sounds fair.
But what I want to know from you guys, and I'll just call you out at random here, is where in the classroom are you? And then give us a brief description of your character. We won't go over class and type. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit later, but we're going to play it a little loosey-goose with this first episode here. So why don't we start with Casey?
Sure. Sitting in the second row, kind of towards the middle, maybe off to the left a little bit, is Elmer Fink. He is probably around 5'6". His hair is very clean cut. He's not incredibly well built, but fairly toned overall. He keeps himself in shape relatively. You can see that he has notebooks set out ready for whatever briefing that he's going to be getting. You also see that he has strapped himself up with gear ready to go already. He is very excited to be a part of this mission, and the stuff that he's wearing, he's got this nice wool overcoat. I don't know what time. You said it was June, actually, so probably not an overcoat. June.
I mean, if he's way too prepared, he might have an overcoat on.
Sure, let's say he's still got his wool overcoat. Maybe it's off of his shoulders right now and more off to the side in the building. But he also, like, all of his gear that he has, like these, canvas pouches and things like that, all of it seems older and it hasn't been used in a little while, but he is very eager to get started here.
Okay, that's great. let's jump to Andrew.
Sitting in the front row, not dead center, but close enough that he can see the board, because he can't really see all that great anymore, but he doesn't want to look like a geek with glasses on, is a muscular man. Young, fresh out of college, long, powerful arms that idly click his fingers on his desk as he's reading all the information on the board. This is Willie Hodges. Brash, young, handsome, perfect all-American boy.
Shia LaBeouf.
I love it. Nate, how about you next?
Yeah, I think sitting in the second row right next to Elmer is Chet.
Great.
That's fine.
Just talking his ear off. Chet is a stout man, probably stands around 5'5", a little husky with like a real big beard, baseball cap on, and like those waterproof overalls and some really muddy boots and a flannel.
I love it. Do we know if the baseball cap has anything on it, or is it for like a specific team? Or is it just a blank baseball cap?
It says he's out there and then has like a image of the Sasquatch.
Oh boy.
Now, we definitely did not get Sasquatch craze until maybe the 60s, and it's
Chet started
1922. So I'll present you with two alternatives here. Either you made this yourself and are the start of that wave, or the Sasquatch craze started in the 1860s.
I think Chet is ahead of the times with this.
You are the Fulcrum
Incredible.
of
You've already made some merchandise.
I love this.
I really love that. Let's jump to Seth.
At the front of the class, leaning against the right side wall, is a man eating an apple with a hunting knife. He has slick back, mostly salt and pepper hair. He's got a scar over his left eye. His left eye is now cloudy.
Oh my God.
He's wearing a white button down, a brown leather jacket, gray wool slacks, and boots you'd probably see on a construction site.
nice.
And his name is Howard Cygnus.
Hell yeah.
Oh my God.
It's fucking sick.
Well, that's exciting. All right. And then Rachel.
Yeah, I think pushing through the door, apologizing quickly, and then finding a seat somewhere in the front row is Laura Turner. She is a woman mid-20s. She has brown hair in a bob that curls around her cheeks as well. She wears a red lipstick and wears a green day suit with a light yellow kind of like checkered pattern, like woven into the fabric. She has a blue neck scarf that hangs over a white blouse, and has just basic jewelry, nothing too crazy. But she promptly sits in her seat, places her files down, and looks up as if she was trying to look as if she's paid attention the whole time, even though she was not present.
I love it. Alice obviously clocks that you're late and kind of raises an eyebrow at you, but is happy that you just quickly make your way to the chair, sit down. So she's leading you guys through what exactly this field work is going to be. And for a little bit of context to everyone listening, everyone here is either a member or an outside contractor working for a group called the Old World Institute. And I think we see that there's a badge on Alice's uniform, this stark black uniform, some slacks and and probably just a suit jacket, kind of almost Men in Black kind of style with her getup here. But there's a badge on there and it says OWI on it, but people call it the Owl Institute because the I vaguely looks like an L, but Owie would be more accurate, some people say. However, we often just call them the Owl Institute. The world of the old gods of Appalachia is full of horror and monsters and strangeness because the Appalachian Mountains, correctly pronounced Appalachia, are full of monsters, full of spirits, revenants, strange things as ancient beings older than time and impossible to comprehend slumber and sleep beneath those rolling hills. Trapped there long ago by beings that we also cannot comprehend. Maybe angels. Who knows? Normally, you all deal with strangeness out there. You follow the 3 C's of the organization. Catalog, collect, conceal. And oftentimes that conceal doesn't necessarily mean just to hide it away, but to get rid of the threat. However, with this mission, she is telling you that you're not heading towards the mountains, but instead you are heading down to the lower Chesapeake and northern Virginia border, or Virginia, as they like to say, to an island called Hastover Island. So she's going into this right now. So anyway, you'll be heading down to Hastover Island, where you'll be... I won't lie to you guys, you're searching for someone. One Marcus Long has disappeared on a fishing trip down that way. And we need you all to either go recover him, ideally alive, or recover the body. We're not sure what happened. The information that we have, and she's now pointing to the very little information, he rented a fishing boat off of Smith Island, which is the island that is just north of Hastover Island, and took it down to Hastover Island, where he was most likely fishing for rockfish, and that is what's in season this time of year. And beyond that, we don't have much information. You'll be provided with a car and a means of transportation, as well as tickets for ferries leading to Smith Island. However, there is not a ferry leading from Smith to Hastover, so you will have to find your own transportation there. We have some old reports that there is an inn on Hastover, so I recommend getting yourself somewhere to sleep there first, and then conducting the investigation on the island.
Without looking up from his apple, how old is the kid?
The kid's 23.
Howard pauses.
There is a photo of him. He's a younger white guy, pale skin. It's a black and white photo, so we can't really tell what color.
Oh, so really pale skin.
So really pale skin. Oh, yeah, white. The photo is shining in the room here. But yeah, youngish man, white, no facial hair, short cropped hair. The photo is of him in a suit, just posting for a portrait.
Yeah, okay, so what I was going to lead into was at that moment, Howard will look up, stop fiddling with the apple, and go over and actually take a good look at the picture. And he's going to say, This is Congressman Long's son?
She looks surprised as you say that. Yes, this is Congressman Willie Long's son, Marcus Long. How'd you know that?
I sheathe the knife and put away the apple.
You holster the apple in your apple holster?
Yeah, I put the apple in my apple holster. No. I put it away and I go sit at an actual seat in the front row.
Okay. Yeah, she raises an eyebrow. She doesn't push it any further.
I'm just a little curious as to why we're being sent on this in particular. I thought we would have been going up to the mountains or something.
Well, not every mission is going to be going up to the Appalachia, as well as, those rivers are long and the tributaries do flow down here, so there's sometimes weirdness.
Sure, yeah, of course.
You can tell that she is maybe hiding something a little bit there. Nothing dangerous, it seems, but if you pressure her a little bit more, and maybe we do a roll on it, you might be able to get some more information out of her on that.
So I understand now that this is the congressman's son, but this is really requiring us to go in? I mean, particularly me. I mean, I feel like I'm better suited in the office.
With the shoes like that, I'd say so.
Well, Laura, we are a little short-staffed right now, and we could use some help, as well as we're not sending you into anywhere dangerous. It's just the Bay. You know, the strangeness is up in Appalachia. The only weirdness you're going to deal with is maybe some eclectic fishermen.
I was kind of hoping for that weirdness, though.
So I feel like this pressure more came from Laura here. Let's do a roll for this. So the way that Old Gods of Appalachia, or the Cypher system, works, it works off of a difficulty rating system instead, where when they roll their 20-sided die, they will never add a number to it, but instead are constantly trying to beat a difficulty that I set forth. That difficulty, I decided, is between 1 and 10, with 1 being super trivial, but requiring a little bit of finesse to it. Difficulty 10 is impossible because you multiply that difficulty by 3, and that is the DC that you get. So if it's a difficulty 2, you need to roll above a 6. If it is a difficulty 6, you need to roll above an 18. And now you can see if it's a difficulty 10, well, you can't really roll a 30, can you? But that's where the other mechanics of the game come in, where you can ease the difficulty. And there's, I think, 3 primary ways that you can go about doing that. One is with your abilities as well as with your skills. If you have a specific ability that helps you, but your skills primarily, you're going to be trained, specialized, or inadequate, right? Inadequate or
inability.
Inability. It's one of those words.
Enabled.
Yeah. Unable.
Not to be confused with
to do that ability. Where if you're trained, it eases it by 1, meaning if it's a difficulty 6, it takes it to a 5. And if you're specialized, it eases it by 2. And if you have an inability, you can't roll that skill at all or anything related to it, basically. Beyond that, helping your friends can ease the difficulty, assets, and specific scenario things. You know, if I feel like, oh, well, you specifically did this action, or maybe you mentioned a specific detail to put someone at ease, well, that could ease the difficulty 2 by 1. And then finally, there is effort. You can spend 3 from your pools, and your pools in this game are your 3 stat abilities of might, intellect, and speed. And they do just about what you would expect there, and they're all tied to abilities. You spend resources from those pools, and those pools also act as your health. And to apply effort to ease a roll, you can spend 3 from that pool to then ease the difficulty by 1. So, do you have any skills that would be like persuasion? I feel like intimidation is not really, it's mostly going to be persuasion, but maybe you have another skill that you could justify or an ability that you could justify.
I'm trained in all actions that involve seeing through a trick, an illusion, a rhetorical ruse designed to invade the issue, or a lie.
Then I think that fits quite perfectly. Originally, it sounded like it was going to be mostly magical related stuff, but if it's just a ruse, yeah, she's basically being, she's sort of lying by omission.
The training is very broad. It's a trick and illusion are obviously magical, but I like rhetorical ruse designed to evade the issue or a lie. Just tagged on the air there.
Some of these skills in this game are really specific, and then others are like that, where it is the most broad thing, and you will be applying that all the time.
I absolutely will.
This is a easy challenge of 3, meaning that it would be a difficulty 9. With that skill, you're going to ease it by 1. So now it is a challenge 2, meaning that it is a DC 6. Roll above a 6.
Let's see it. Incredible. That's a 12 on the die.
That's 12 on the die. You succeed. What does that sound like to kind of put the pressure on a little bit more as to why we're all doing this?
I think that Laura has a very strong eye. And what I mean by that is that she kind of has a look about her when she's feeling skeptical that kind of makes a face that discomforts the people who are trying to pull one over on her. So With a narrowing of an eyebrow and her eyelid, she kind of leans forward and says, "Would you mind explaining that a little bit more?"
She kind of puts a finger to the top of her nose and then just shakes her head and is like, well, I can understand where you're coming from here. And yes, I'm going to be honest with all of you. He's calling in a favor with the director.
Mm-hmm.
We told him to work through FBI, local law enforcement, but he wants our agents. He likes the way that we do things, as well as, he wants to proverbially swing his big dick around. Which, to be honest, is probably not that large, seeing the policies that he's trying to put through.
Ooh.
Chuckle, chuckle, guffaw, chuckle, chuckle.
We all guffaw. The room guffaws.
I see.
So yes, it seems that this is a favor being called in, and a stupid one at that. But that is part of the reason why you all are being called on here.
Yeah, Laura rolls her eyes and sits back in her chair.
Just hold on a second there. Does that mean he knows what we do?
And this almost sounds like training. What we do is not secret, but is often kept from the public eye. We are a government organization, and he, like us, is a servant of that government. So yes, he does know what we do, to the degree that he needs to know, like anyone else.
Wow, this is really exciting, everybody. Hi, I'm Chet. Last mission I was on, we got free horses. Do we get horses this time?
Even better. We were able to procure you guys a Lincoln Model 117.
I'd prefer horses.
I thought they were all Fords now.
No, this one's a Lincoln.
Not like they're gonna know the difference down there anyway.
I don't know either.
Do we have anyone we're meeting down there? You said you had most of our travel arrangements acquired, right?
In terms of getting a boat from Smith Island, which is a large fisherman community that has a ferry that runs to Crisfield on the mainland, getting the boat from Smith to Hastover, we don't have any contacts down there. So unfortunately, you'll be on your own to procure transportation from that point forward. We can get you as far as Smith, but then it's up to you to get to Hastover.
Great.
All right. Any final thoughts or questions? Otherwise, I think we'll montage out of here. We exit from Owl. You all head to the garage of the building where a Lincoln Model 117 is waiting for you guys. It is a spacious car of the time with 5 seats. So who's driving and who's in shotgun?
I'll drive.
All
I'll be
right.
in shotgun.
Incredible. So the 2 big burly agents are up in the front and the nerds are in the back seat.
Now, hold on a second.
I resemble that statement.
I don't.
Well, actually,
Not at heart.
maybe not. I think as you go to the car, Willie goes to open the passenger side door and says, "On second thought, a lovely lady like you shouldn't be sitting in the back with the others." And I'll turn over to Laura and open the door for her.
Oh. Why, thank you. And Laura will
Anytime.
take the front seat.
Name's Willie
Okay.
Hodges. You might know my father, Vernon. And you are?
I don't. Laura Turner.
Ah, you don't know Vernon Hodges. Very surprised. Big deal over at Owl. But lovely to meet you, Miss Turner.
I spend a lot of time with my nose in my books. I hope you don't mind. And I sit in the seat.
No offense taken.
Dibs on the middle seat.
Oh, that's so great. You pile into the middle seat, and we head out from there.
Indiana Jones montage of the map.
Yeah, sure, why not? We see a painted line go across, get on a ferry to the eastern shore, down to Crisfield, on a ferry over to Smith Island, where then we see, and at this point it is The start of evening. That sun is just touching down on the horizon, so we are entering sort of twilight hours almost. Just a bit of sun is still there, and it's still easy to see out as you guys roll into town. There are other vehicles on the island. A lot of them are sort of more for transport. Very old-fashioned trucks, but a lot of wagons, horses, mules. As you make your way towards the port of the town, or at least that's where I assume that you'll go, as that is the place where you'll most likely be able to either hire a boat or rent a boat, or maybe steal a boat, depending on how you want to approach this. Kent Island, a large fishing community with a big port, flat-bottomed styled water jet-propelled fishing boats. These classic Chesapeake Bay fisherman boats are lined up along a series of old docks, but very clearly well-maintained and painted. We see seagulls and terns and a couple of oyster catchers hanging out on a jetty heading out into the water that's breaking off some tide waters from taking away the beaches nearby. Near the water is a gigantic mound of oysters shells that stretches easily 60 feet into the air. It is insane how large this pile of oysters is near a large tavern house that is basically directly connected to the port. Near the dock, mounds of wooden crab crates, dredges, and oyster tongs are arranged neatly. Some seagulls squawk and hang out near a cleaning house where men and women are busily cleaning catches from the day. Groups of fishermen can be seen around the docks in various states of work or inebriation. So, I guess I will open it up to you guys on how you want to approach.
So as we are stepping out kind of into the dock area, Elmer is taking pictures. He has a camera around his neck, and he's just kind of snapping photos of things that he finds interesting, but also things that might lead us in the right direction. So the massive tower of oysters for one, some of the fishermen as well, in the cleaning house and everything, but he's kind of looking a little bit touristy, but also using that to just snap other photos and things.
Wow, you have a lot of film, I guess, huh?
I have a bit, yeah. I'm hoping that we can restock before we actually get on that ferry out of here, or get a boat out of here.
I hope you're not looking to get it developed, are you?
Not anytime soon, but when we get back to Owl.
Oh, very fair.
You gotta keep a record of this stuff, right?
Yeah, but we got pens. Well, we got pencils and paper for that one.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm liking your approach.
A picture's worth 1,000 words there, Willie. You gotta get with the times.
Wow, that's a lot of words.
I was never one for the arts.
You took 18 pictures.
That's a lot. That's impressive.
Well, you gotta splurge on these missions, right? You if you want to go out on more.
I'm sure. As a researcher, I do a lot of reading, so I feel like I can capture a lot in words. Pictures definitely would be more interesting to get the proper observations in real time. I'm just impressed, just through everything that I'm reading. I can't wait until pictures become more available. That would be so helpful, really.
Elmer, your focus was on the oyster mound.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that as everyone's, chiding you, you're all, a little quippy at each other, whatnot, just talking as well. And you go to take another photo and you see something a little odd in that oyster pile, about halfway up the mound. Do you go and see what it is?
Yeah, I think I would kind of excuse myself from the rest of them and be like, all right, if you want to find a boat or something, I'm just gonna get another closer look at these oysters over here.
And there he goes. Boat then.
This is going to be, I think, a challenge 2.
Okay.
To basically athleticism or anything related to that is going to be a might check. So a skill that if you have anything related to that, but a challenge 2 or any way to ease it, to climb up this oyster mound as it is unstable and easy to slip on and maybe even cut your hand.
Yeah, the only skill that I have here is sensing danger.
That wouldn't apply here.
I'll tell you what, let me give you a lift.
Well, you could give the help action. I won't lie. I know that you can use that to ease. I don't know the rule off the top of my head. So how about for right now, we say that you can just ease it.
It's also not that hard of a difficulty at 2.
It's not that hard of a difficulty, so why don't you just go for it?
Yeah. Just got to roll a 4 or a 6 or better. What could go wrong?
6 or better. How'd you do? Oh, no.
Share with the class.
Since it was a natural 1.
Oh.
I don't need help. It's just a 2.
1. So there are extreme successes in this game. It goes at 2 levels on the other end of the spectrum here. 19 and 20 are both greater successes, with 20 being the major one and the 19 being the minor one. A 1 means that I get to do a thing called an intrusion.
Yeah.
Where basically I get to deal some damage, make you drop something, maybe a piece of equipment breaks.
I'm going to lose my
It's a
camera.
whole bunch of stuff like that. No, I'm not going to take your camera away. Don't worry.
This guy's going to save you
Now,
money.
whenever I intrude, you can resist if you have experience. Or you can accept the consequence, gain 2 experience, but you have to give 1 to another person and explain why that person has the experience.
Right, okay.
Yeah. What I'm going to say is you trip. You still make it up the mound, but you slice your hand. Which means that you are moving forward. Anything involving your hands, again, this can be very narrative. Anything basically involving your hands is going to be harder. It's going to be an increase in difficulty. There's a specific word in the book for this. I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. But that will be the consequence here. So, firstly, though, you're going to take an experience, but then you are going to give an experience to somebody else.
Ah, okay.
You should give it to the guest.
I mean, so I have to figure out how they have that experience?
Mm-hmm.
Or how they gain it?
How they gain it, yes. And it can be very simple. Maybe they just watch you fall and they learn not to do that.
I think as Elmer starts slipping, he cries out a little bit, especially as he cuts his hand, and Chet looks over and spots the thing that I had seen over there, gaining that experience.
Mm-hmm. So, what you come across, this is a mound purely of oyster shell, shucked oysters that people in this time period eat by the dozens. I mean, nowadays, it's like $3 for an oyster, sometimes, if you're lucky. Nowadays, it's like a penny for 10. So people are eating them by the mountains, and it's part of the reason, I'm not going to get on my soapbox here. But you find amongst those bleached white shells a still living oyster that is not at the top of this pile, but is fairly high on this pile, meaning that it's been here for longer than it should have been. But you see as its lips gently pry open, but upon looking at it further, you see tumorous growths push up against its shell, cracking the surface, revealing beautiful mother of pearl cracking through on those disgusting tumorous growths, cracking it in several places. And you would recognize this as most likely a cipher mechanically.
Ooh, okay.
So, brief description on ciphers. Ciphers are one-off magical items that these guys should find all the time. I need to be good about that. So,
Already rocking it.
give us a 5-star review and tell me to get on it if I'm not getting on it. There we go. We got the plug in early. Don't have to do it later. Multitasking, people. It is usually a challenge 1 or 2 to determine the magical nature of a cipher. So if you would like to roll for me, I'm going to say this is just a challenge rating 1.
Okay.
Roll a d20 and get a 3 or above. Do you have any way to ease that, though? Because you can ease it to 0 and not have to roll. Do you have any skills, basically?
I don't
If you
think
don't, you
so.
don't.
My
Okay.
only skills are in mapping, initiative, and sensing danger. So
Perfect. Okay, go ahead, roll.
I got a 5, so
You got a
just
5?
barely.
It takes you a minute, but something clicks in your head that this is a whispering oyster. Squeeze the oyster tight in your left palm before passing it to your right, then holding it in brackish water. For the next 10 minutes, the oyster collects thoughts, secrets, and information about the general area up to a square mile, including any creatures, people, weather, or goings-on. At the end of that time, you can listen to the oyster's whispers, gaining answers to a number of questions equal to the cipher's level, which is 1d6. You'll roll it when you use it. The questions must pertain to the area and must be simple enough that the oyster can answer them in no more than 3 words. Upon use, the oyster will perish.
Wow.
But maybe it's for the best looking at it.
Yeah, probably.
And I think we get a really great wide shot of just you with a bloody palm and something, you don't know why you picked it up with your bloody hand, but just holding this dark, pearlescent oyster as the sun slowly sets behind that bleached oyster shells. And then we cut to everyone else. How are we getting a boat?
So, Chet, you look excited. Would you happen to know about how we could get a boat around here?
Well, I just figured we could just talk to people and be like, hey, you know where we can find a boat? And if they say no, we go to the next one. We go, hey, you know where we can find a boat? And if they say no, well, that's a little disappointing. We try to hold 2 people. But we go to the next person and we say, hey, do you know where we can find a boat?
Okay.
And if they say no.
Okay.
No, I can't argue with that.
I suppose that is a way we could do it. Looking around, is there a obvious dock that has a building that would like have a sign that says like boat rentals or something like that, or a stall or something?
In this time period, no, not
No.
really. You're going to
Okay.
have to talk to locals.
Okay, sure. So literally basically what Chet says. Okay. I'm used to the city where there's signs for things that I need. So I'm new to that kind of thing around here.
Oh, that sounds fancy.
So I've described a couple, there's the tavern, there's the cleaning house, there are various groups of fishermen unloading from their boats, there's people just on the docks. You see a group of fishermen just drinking by a stoop, but World of Zero Oyster, you can either go with one of those or just describe the person to me that you approach.
Haha, ayo. The world is your oyster. It was so easy.
Let's go to the drunk fisherman.
Sounds good.
Okay. You see a group of 3 fishermen, 2 men with darker skin. They have caps over their heads and big beards. One of them is really skinny and is holding a flask. The other man has a old style can of beer where the top had to be cut off. And then a woman sits with them as well, and she has a little cup that the man is pouring the flask into, and they're laughing over something and don't necessarily see you all approach, or they're choosing to ignore you.
Well, howdy there, strangers. My name's Chet. It's a pleasure to meet you. We were wondering if y'all had a boat or knew of someone who had a boat that could take us to Hastover Island. These are my friends and associates.
Hello.
Well, it's good to meet you. I'm Gregory. This is Tilly, and that's Jackson. Sorry, we're doing a little bit of celebrating. Rockfish season and the catching's good right now. A little bit of libations. I don't suppose you gentlemen would like to join us for a drink?
Yeah, I don't see any reason why not.
I mean, we're
Well,
on the job, so only stop us at 3.
All right. Well, I hope you brought your own. And they all laugh and start drinking, what they were already drinking. The woman tells you, you're looking for a boat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Well, I have one. What do you need it for?
We're looking for a missing person.
They kind of raise an eye at that and they're like, oh.
I just give a quick glare to Chet.
And they all immediately look at their drinks. It is the middle of Prohibition. And you just said that you're in the middle of an investigation. And you watch as all 3 of them very coyly just tuck their drinks behind their bags.
Oh, we're not the coppers. No, you're good.
Willie pulls out a flask.
That's
Runs
exactly
through the
what
top.
a cop would say. That Jackson chimes in.
No, that's not us. We're just here with the government trying
No,
to
no, no.
find-
Look, we're here. We're just trying
They
to
get up, and it is going to be a roll to keep them here of difficulty 5.
Guys. I'm gonna pull out a flask of my own and unscrew the top. And Miss, would you like yourself a refill?
That will ease this roll by 1, bringing it to a 4.
Am I the person rolling this right now?
You know what? It could be any of you 3. Willie did offer the hooch. You, I believe I cut you off.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, no, we're not here to. We're just trying to get passage to Hastover Island.
It's either going to be Laura or Willie who is going to make this roll. One of you can use the helping action to potentially reduce this as well. This is going to be, I think, just persuasion. If you have that skill, either one of you.
I don't.
We don't have a
Well,
speaker in this group.
Luckily,
none of us
you
in this
don't
group.
have unless you have an inability in it, you can still roll. It's going to be difficulty 4, so it's a 16.
You want to roll it, Andrew, or?
Is that with the reduction from the hooch?
Well, for now, we're just going to say yes. So that brings it down to a 3, so roll above a 9.
Andrew, you want to do
Okay.
it?
Sure, why not?
Go ahead.
9.
That is a 9.
Hey!
I believe it meets it. It passes. Barely. I will. You know what I'm going to say here? Tilly and Jackson there, the woman and the taller, skinny man, they leave. They're out of there. But Gregory, he's sort of like taps his chin. He's like, I don't know. And he holds out his flask, gets a little bit of a top off from you, clinks it with you, Willie, and looks at you, Laura. Kind of raises an eyebrow at Chet and is just ignoring him.
Did I say something wrong?
And, well, I'll be honest with you, Tilly was the one there with the boat. But if you want to find someone that can, get you there, I would recommend either talking to those one, and he points to a group by a boat, or you can always just hoot in the tavern. Might be able to catch someone that way. Say though, what is this investigation?
We were just looking into a missing person. Their name was Marcus Law.
I'm gonna cut you off before you finish. Hold on. I'm gonna do a badge flash. And I'm just gonna like, let's talk boat.
He like throws his arms up at like you, Willie, and I was like, what the hell? I thought you weren't cops. But out of you, Howard, keep going.
I'm gonna get in his face. One of my inabilities is patience, so I think we're at now. And I'm gonna get in his face, and we're like, let's talk boat now. And I'm really gonna eye him with that glazed over eye.
He is a big man, and is a fisherman by trade, so already pretty brawny, as well as is used to a hard life.
And said he didn't have a boat.
Suddenly turning up the aggression when he was already. I think this is going to be intimidation.
Okay.
And I think this is going to be a difficult roll. So I'm going to say a challenge of 6
Okay.
to intimidate this guy. Can you ease that at all?
Sure, I'll ease it.
Yeah, you can also spend effort if you want to. You reduce that pool by 3. So that'll be your intellect pool probably by 3. And then you can ease it by 1 more.
Beat him up, Howard. Kick him in the nads.
Hey, we're not doing
Why
that.
are we fighting?
Oh, okay.
Also, I'm gonna take umbrage with the fact that this guy was like, "This is a brawny guy. He's a fisherman," and I'm like, "Motherfucker! I was eating an apple with a hunting knife. I've got a scar through my eye. Do you know who the fuck I am?"
So you are
Howard
intimidating. So
Cygnus.
do you have the intimidating skill?
No, but I got laws.
You got what?
Laws.
Laws.
Laws. Okay.
Let's litigate.
Let's litigate. You weren't really. Were you spitting about laws?
We flashed the badge.
I flashed the badge.
You flashed the badge. You know what? I'll allow it. So that'll ease it. And then you want to spend some effort?
All right, I did.
Okay. So roll above a 12.
All right. That's a 17.
That's a 17. You almost didn't even need it. Yeah, he backs up. He throws his hands up. He's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, I'm not looking for any trouble, and I don't have a boat I could give you. So, why don't we just cool it? Look, Joe, go talk to John over there. He's got the boat the oyster catcher. And he can maybe grant you some passage. I was just trying to ask you what y'all were doing. We got a lot of suspicious folk here.
Force my way past him.
You knock him to the side. He kind of throws his hands up at you, Willie, and is like, what the hell? Before he heads off after his friends.
Yeah, Laura's like jaw dropped, like eyes wide, like I don't know what just happened here. And it's just like, okay.
At this point, Elmer makes his way back in too. He's like, guys, I found something. What's going on?
Well, Howard certainly has a way of getting through to people.
All right, well.
I feel like that's the opposite. What did you find? An oyster? Is that what that is?
Not just an oyster. Shakes it a little bit. It's a sapphire. Throws it back in his pocket.
That thing is disgusting.
A what?
Sapphires? Do you not? I thought you said you were a researcher.
Right. Yeah. Yes, I am a researcher. Yeah, one of those little like good luck charms or whatever you have. Sure, very nice. I'm so glad you found one.
All right, well, they're more than just good luck charms, all right? Not like I'm wishing on the first star or nothing.
Right. Okay, well, I'm so glad you found one. I hope it tastes delicious.
I'm just not eating it.
Can I eat it?
Whatever it is that you do with those things. Howard, I think, just went to go get a boat.
Oh, good. So we are making progress. Great.
Somehow.
We see Howard fighting 8 men on a boat, holding one of them Bane style on the bow and breaking him.
That's about the energy I would expect, honestly.
It would be pretty dang funny. Okay, so Howard, you are approaching what you can only presume is Captain John, an older man. He's got a salt and pepper hair, bald head. He's got yellow overalls on, thick gloves. Another sort of brawny guy, very tan, brownish sort of skin. And he doesn't really notice you approaching until you get like right up next to the boat where they are unloading some crab pots from the day.
Nice vessel.
Thank you.
We're in need of a transport.
We gotta unload first, but where are you heading to?
We're headed to Hastover Island.
You say that, and everyone on the boat freezes up. And he immediately spits on the dock at your feet. And he goes, absolutely not, fuck off. I'll see you around. And he goes back to doing his crab pot.
I'm going to whistle and flash the badge again.
He looks, sees the badge, and he goes, what's that?
That there is enough authority to commandeer the boat, which I don't want to do.
With that, the other men on the boat kind of move up behind him. You really want to try that?
It's not that I want to. And then I'm just going to kind of move my leather jacket a little bit to flash the iron. And I'm going to say,
yeah,
but I will.
They back off with that. I don't think I'm going to make you roll on that. You flash the iron there. And as they're exiting the boat, they don't bother to get rid of the rest of the crab pots. They're just like, I'm going to local law enforcement about this. It ain't over.
I hope you do.
And they angrily head off the docks, and you watch as they go straight to that tavern.
Interesting. Do we see this?
You all saw that happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that went well.
I don't even know what to do in this
situation. I think Howard got a little bit ahead of you guys, and in literally the 20 seconds it took for that conversation, it happened. Like, it happened that fast, there was no stopping that.
So we look over and just see these like burly fishermen like angrily walking off their boat and going into the tavern.
Oh, they shove their way past you guys. They you don't know if they recognize you as being part of Howard's team, but you guys definitely don't look like watermen.
No,
Nope.
no, I'm very clean.
Yeah, that's what you
I
get
look
for
more like a woodsman.
Chet!
That's what you get for messing with the owlies.
Oh,
We're the government, baby.
One of those guys flicks you off, and yeah, they pick up the pace a little bit more to get to that tavern.
I'm gonna go over to Chet at this point and just be like, Chet, okay.
Yeah.
We need to talk about some field work. What's the word I'm looking for? Etiquette.
Uh-huh.
And I should probably talk to Howard about this too, but I don't know why he doesn't know this already. We're not trying to get people pissed off at us.
Look, Elmer, I don't know how many owly field trips you've been on. I've been on quite a couple. Howard looks like he's been on quite a couple. Every place I've ever been with owlies, we get people pissed at us. It's kind of part of the job description, I thought.
I hate it.
No, it's not supposed to be that way, actually. You're supposed to more or less keep most things quiet and get it done. We're not really trying to get everybody, upset. That's just tends to be, I guess, what happens on your missions. And yes, I have been on other missions.
Guys, does anyone know how to drive a boat?
No, I don't.
Nah, just a couple basic pulleys and levers. Couldn't be too hard.
What are y'all sitting here whinging about? Growing roots?
I'm not mentioning about anything. Good work there, Howard.
Do you know how to drive a boat?
Yeah, I do. It's time to make waves.
Fine.
Right.
Oh, that was cool.
Did I just catch a joke on your breath?
As you guys have that end of that conversation, you guys hear a loud bang as the door to the tavern is kicked open, and the cocking of a shotgun can be heard from across the place. And you see a mob of angry watermen are starting to make their way across, shouting various things. And it's probably time to skedaddle. So who's driving this boat?
Howard.
We're running.
Howard?
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Howard, go ahead, give me a drive boat check, which is going to be intellect. If you have any abilities or ways to ease that, let me know. But that is going to be a difficulty 3.
Drive.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
down to 2.
All right, that's a nat 20.
Natural 20?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Hell yeah, dude.
One of my favorite things in the Bay is they will have docking competitions where watermen will professionally pilot these boats to get them in and out of a dock with perfect, they don't touch the sides, they rope perfectly. It's actually magical to watch. It's kind of crazy. You channel that spirit as you don't touch a single pillar and dodge out of there. And you throw up your wake. I mean, you get a major success here, meaning that you get like a major effect on top of it. And I think what ends up happening is you swing the boat, hit the wake just right, that it hits an old pillar, knocking it loose, blocking the exit from the jetty. Meaning that if they wanted to chase you down, they can.
Shit.
And you make your way out into those darkening, murky, brackish waters. As you start heading across, these waters are unusually smooth as the night slowly ticks in till that sun is gone. You see, off in the distance, Hastover Island, just a speck on the horizon. The only way that you're able to see it right now, actually, is the lighthouse off of its eastern shores, slowly spanning around, but you know that you are going for the western side of the island. But as you approach, a fog gently rolls in, and what I want to know from everyone is, who do you see in that fog?
So looking into the fog, Elmer is already a little bit distraught at how this first mission back is going. And in the fog, he sees a young girl, probably about 8. She has pigtails, although there isn't, like, what he sees is not in full color. It's basically made of the fog itself. She has these pigtails, a kind of like apron-like dress with a checker pattern to it, long stockings, and yeah, he just sees that young girl and basically freezes when he sees her.
I think as the fog rolls across the bay, he sees a little cluster of rocks. And bathing on top, not really basking in sun because there's no sun left for the day, but at least collected on top, siren-like figures, laughing and smiling with each other. And he turns around to see if anyone else can see this collective, and immediately locks eyes with Laura, who he brushes off with a quick smile and turns attention to other things.
I'll take that pass. Laura looks from Willie, shrugs, and then looks back out to the fog, where for her, she sees things so literally and logically that it's hard for her to kind of decipher an image and pull meaning from it. But as she stares out on the fog, it kind of shifts into a face, and she sees the face and rolls her eyes at it as it becomes more and more detailed and ominous and specific, and it almost has pupils, and it's almost like the pupils are glowing, and it's almost like the glowing pupils are looking directly at her. And the face on this thing starts to grow and curl and grin at her. And her face, Laura's face, drops. Because she's never seen anything like that before.
I see a pair of eyes above the fog that twinkle in the stars and remind me of Mary.
Oh. And Chet.
Yeah, I think it's fitting that Chet notices last, as he has an inability to notice danger. And he sees everyone staring off, and he's like, "Oh, what are we looking at?" And then he just goes wide eyes, mouth agape. Meemaw, when'd you learn to fly? Because he sees in the mist an old woman with the same bone structures as him, very wrinkly. She's a smoker. She didn't age well, with short curled hair.
But smoking keeps you healthy. That and 3 bumps of cocaine.
Yeah. she just is rocking in her chair on the water, and she's just like, "You best start believing," and she just sinks into the water.
No.
However, this is all broken up as the floorboards on the boat rattle and shake, and something pushes up against them, pushing the entire boat as if it was a toy with ease forward. As something starts crawling up the sides, and then you all hear in your minds, quite clearly, just, "No." And it stops, and you're left alone as the boat continues on, and you see a dock in the distance, lit up by a few lanterns, a couple of other boats there, but not nearly as many as Smith Island, a town stretching forth, and you can even see a church out in the distance farther down in the town. And as you pull in on the dock, there's a couple of open areas where you can pull in. You see a sign that is aged poorly, to put it plainly, that simply says, "Welcome to Willow Grove, Hastover Island." And standing next to that sign is an older man. And do you all disembark from the boat onto the dock?
Yeah, I'll take a step out.
Okay.
I think
You
so.
all step out. And
I'm
are
gonna look over the
immediately
sides of the boat first.
dark, black water. You don't see anything disturbing the top of the glassy finish as it is still here, unusually calm. You can almost make out some mussels growing in the marshy substrate that is below those glassy waters, but otherwise nothing strange. You have no idea what that was out in the water. But you're here on the dock now, and that was out in the water. You are all hit by a wave of nausea as you exit that boat. And a man steps out of the dark into the light where there's a lantern, and he has a smile on his face. He's older, dark and black, gray beard that runs down past his chin. However, is messy and a little unkempt, but he wears a crisp white shirt under a pair of stained overalls. With no scar on his forehead, though, if you're trying to make that connection. Behind him stand a few others, men and women. It's not a large group, maybe 4 or 5 people, so not exactly like the whole town is here, but clearly they saw you approaching. And the old man, he speaks for you, he goes, "Hello, I'm the mayor here. May I ask what brings you folk to our quiet fishing community?" And he takes a step or two forward towards you and opens up his hands as if greeting you and welcoming you.
I basically reflect it.
Laura wants to speak first, but I think as she goes to open her mouth, she remembers how the last situation went with Howard, so she lets Howard speak up.
Oh, okay, yeah. I basically make the same motion as the mayor. Just open, friendly. I say, "Good evening. You're looking for a friend."
And what, friend would that be?
Oh, I'm not sure if you know him. His name's Marcus.
Marcus. No, I am friends with everyone on this island, and I mean, I think there's Marcus Turner. He turns, and the woman behind him kind of nods. Don't know many other Marcuses. Maybe back on Smith Island. Why don't we go back that way?
Well, we did hear that he came out for a fishing trip.
Good for
Heard he came out in this direction. That's why we hoped to catch him and get here before it got dark, but as you can see, that didn't quite work out. If it's all the same to you, we would love a place to just bed down for the night at least. It's going to be hard sailing back tonight.
And hard looking.
We also stole that boat, so I don't know if we want to go back.
Put my hand over Chet's mouth so he doesn't say that.
He raises an eye at all that, and he chimes in now. Well, there is good fishing. Don't know if I'd recommend stealing a boat, but it seems like that's what outsiders always come to do when they come to our waters and our town. You think that you can just take anything you want, and that we have to comply with you, but you aren't a part of this community. So I'll ask you one more time to leave.
Well, that being said, your community is part of the U.S. government, in which we have jurisdiction. We're borrowing the boat. We'll bring it right back when we're done.
Let's see how much jurisdiction you have when you're under the marsh.
Are you threatening me?
You go,
Yeah,
are you
it's a
threatening
pretty
me? And
obvious
you
threat.
watch as if she was there the whole time. A young woman, girl, she could maybe be 12 or 13, steps out from behind him. She's wringing her hands slightly. Her eyes are far too big for her head, and her skin is pale white, and there almost seems to be a crack running along it. Her lips, her bottom lip is jet black, but her top lip is bright orange. And you can see that her hair is some sort of brownish, greenish color. She steps out and looks to all of you and shakes her head. And you hear once again through your heads, "No." As you watch as he reaches down and puts a hand on top of her head. But his hand doesn't necessarily stop, as it's as if his fingers meld into her head, sloughing underneath the skin. Doesn't seem to hurt her in any way, but her eyes go wide and her eyes start flickering back and forth. And then you hear a sound behind you. As the waves around you, they're not waves though, it's just the water parting as an enormous black creature winds its way up, tentacles stretching out, wrapping around your boat, and with ease, ripping it backwards at sudden speed, and it flies out of the port, off into the distance, into the dark. And now, this is not necessarily how the game works, but we're going to play it this way, and I am going to introduce a GM intrusion of significant damage upon each of you.
Oh.
As Willie, a tentacle wraps up around your leg and rips it off. You scream as the monster will rip your leg off and beat you to death with your own leg.
Oh.
Willie, do you have an experience to nullify that action?
I don't think I do. I think the only experience that was given to Chet.
Your body hits the deck of this dock as another tendril reaches up and rips you into the water before any of you can do anything. Howard, a tendril wraps around your head as you, I imagine, go for your gun. And before anything can happen, we hear and it snaps your head clean off, another tendril grabbing your body and ripping it into the water. Do you have an XP to nullify that damage?
Sam Reich, I think you know that I don't.
As your body is ripped into the water.
Okay.
Chet, a tendril is going to reach up and slam into you, knocking you against a pillar and beating you to death. But it seems you might have an experience.
I do have an experience.
So instead, you may spend that to nullify this, and instead what's going to happen is the tendril wraps around you and rips you into the dark waters of the Chesapeake. Elmer, a tendril reaches up, two of them grabbing at your arms, and is going to rip them both off of your body before a third is going to drag you into that water. But I think you too have an experience, do you not?
I do, and I would
you
love
like
to not
spend it?
have that happen. Yes, I will spend it.
So instead, a tendril wraps around your backpack as you're able to move out of the way just in time, and instead you are ripped into those dark waters. Laura, you are alone on this dock.
Oh!
And the man pulls his hand out of that little girl, looks at her and goes, "That was good. You may leave now." And with that, he throws his arms down, and as if bursting forth from him, a wolf, bipedal and terrifying, as if fighting for the same space as his body, claws and rips and tears, and he is going to slash your throat in an instant.
Oh my god.
Do you have an experience to resist that?
No, I don't have
You
any
fall to the
experience.
ground before a tendril reaches up, and in your dying breath, he leans down and he looks at you and he goes, "How's that for jurisdiction?" As you are ripped into the water. And we go to black.
And that was Blood on the Reeds, everybody.
And that was
Good
Blood
job.
on the Reeds,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you all for enjoying our first session of this campaign.
What?
First?
Yeah, there's more.
What?
Oh my god.
Do we want to do plugs? Nate, what you got to plug?
That was crazy. Why would you do that to us? Hi, internet. I'm Nate. I'm not dead.
Maybe.
Yeah, if you enjoyed me, you can check out Escape the Dungeon podcast, where I am a regular cast there. Yeah, we're playing Urban Shadows. There's less arm ripping off, but it's,
The energy of this plug.
I don't know what to say at this moment. I'm shocked.
I feel like this proves that none of them knew this was going to happen, and this is not scripted.
No.
Well, maybe someone knew something was going to happen. Anywho, who's next? How about you, Casey?
Sure.
Come on, guys. Keep the energy alive.
You can check out my personal socials at Casey_Reardon. Also, check out our Patreon. If you want to see what these character sheets looked like, you can check out our Patreon because we're never using them again, so I might as well show those there. There's also character sheets for Hench and all that stuff. You can support us for as little as $1 and up to $20 a month. It's a lot of great fun. We got a lot of bonus content there. And maybe another show. Who knows? Because this one's probably over. That's what it feels like.
This one's over. There's no more.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Popcorn it to Rachel.
Yeah, let's we'll start with we'll just start with me. At Rachel Kordell for personal socials, Majora's Rose on Twitch. I guested on a bunch of stuff over on Folk and Myth last month. So check out their Cardinal Roll game or Pyramid or Black Pentecost for a bunch of fun, crazy stuff over there. There's other stuff going on that I'm just mind boggled right now. I'm obsessed with what's happening. Yeah, I can't think. Andrew, help me.
Homie and the dude. Homie and the dude. Homie and the dude? They don't rip your arms off and your legs and beat you to death with them. They just put out cool TTRPG content, along with their team of wonderful creatives. Give their stuff a look. It's great. And also doesn't involve your immediate painful death as soon as you land into the setting of the campaign you're starting. Seth?
Have you ever been personally victimized by Sky Swanson?
Yes.
Well, I can't help you with that. What you could do is maybe leave a review and maybe give Sky Swanson 5 stars for how many years he'll spend in hell. And that would be multiplied by centuries. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
That's probably a good stopping point.
Seth, you seem truly flabbergasted.
I feel
we're all there.
betrayed, lied to.
So I'll say this for the audience. Here's a fun-free behind the scenes. Seth thought he was going to be the only one to die, and Andrew thought he was going to be the only one to die. And Rachel didn't know she was going to die.
I feel like Rachel should be more pissed.
I'm feeling something. I don't know.
Sky, you plug.
Yeah, do a plug, shithead.
My job was already done. Anywho, kill your friends. Bye.
Honestly, our goodbye should just be the blub blub blubbing
Kill
of
your
us
friend.
under the freaking waters. Blub 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 blub.
Oh, I have nothing to blub all the years out of my lungs.
Crazy.